Good evening, everybody. This is Beyond the Buzzer for, wow, Kyle, we have reached the month of July 8th, 2021. I'm your host, Dane Thompson, checking with July tonight in the middle of Tropical Storm Elsa. I don't mean the frozen version. And we're on an hour early tonight. Yes, we're on an hour early due to game two of the NBA Finals because we realized people want to watch the finals. I get it. So for the next 56 or so minutes, myself and the man right to me, UCF reporter, college football analyst, and also the student of the game himself, the three-point conversions own, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash, and I will talk about all things sports, fun, and also pick on Bobby at the same time. For those who for those who've never watched the show before, shame on you. For those who have watched this broadcast once again, please like, share it, and tag everybody else. We also, if you haven't seen our show before and you want to catch it later on, you can go to I-95 on Zingo Television Channel 198 to pick up the different broadcast shows as well, too. And also, if you're in the chat, which is meaning Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere else, please leave comments in the chat. Kyle and I don't bite. And we also give good takes depending on how bad your take is. Listen, also big shout out to our good friends over on Valor, which is VALOUR.us, as you see the top left hand corner over my left hand shoulder. Check out for all things mutual, and also big shouts to my main man Jay Waddell for landing DJ Venoms, who's going to be DJing the Rolling Loud Festival down in South Florida at the end of the month. Listen, Valor's got everything going for you, so if you're trying to promote your business, check them out at Valor. Kyle, speaking of things being checked out, well, the NBA Finals has checked in because the Clippers and the Atlanta Hawks have checked out. This is what it is, Kyle. We're going for game two of the NBA Finals tonight up in Phoenix. I know up in Phoenix sounds like a crazy term, but down in Phoenix, game two of the finals tonight. The Suns took care of game one in impressive fashion. It was 118-102 over the Bucks in game one in the return of Giannis. And Kyle, as we get set for game two in about 55 or so minutes, what are some of the things that you saw in game one? Did anything surprise you about the Suns winning that first game, or did you feel like this was about to happen?
I felt like it was about to happen, right? Because we saw that Giannis was cleared, but only just recently was injury truly out of the woods, so to speak, right? I still felt like that the group was going to kind of feel out the Suns and lose this first game. Did I expect Chris Paul to drop 39 and all the other massive stats that he had? No, but when he did it somehow at the same time, I wasn't surprised either, if it's possible. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody's called at least 6 games for this series that I've seen. Okay. So, I'll put it this way. It's one of those things. What's the saying, Danny Thompson? It's not really a series until somebody wins on the road.
And you're 1,000% correct, because you look at game one, the Suns had time off before game one. They had days off. The Bucks literally had just finished the series on Saturday against Atlanta. Giannis, like I said, to your point, Giannis wasn't cleared to literally about an hour before tip-off. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, was it that close? I thought it was at least the night before. Damn. Okay.
No, I mean, the thing was, he was being moved doubtful to questionable to he's on the floor warming up. ESPN had the cameras on him all over the place. For a guy who hadn't played, and Kyle, here's the thing. He's coming back from a hyperextended knee.
Right.
Kyle being the only athlete on the panel between the two of us who has played some type of sport at a higher level than than grade school ball. And appreciate LA brought us in the chat. Check him out, the 3-point conversion as well, too. But
what up, LA?
But Kyle, you have seen injuries before, and a hyperextended knee is not something you come back from in 6 days.
No, fortunately, that's something I've never experienced. I'll lead with that. But that, man, listen, like the only other thing more crazy than that is Terrell Owens returning from the tibia fraction to play in the Super Bowl and to drop 111 yards. And
and
that's the only thing I can think of. But for context, so people know. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, Kyle, to your point. But that tibia, he was catching passes like it was week 5. It wasn't it was like regular season Terrell in that game. Mm-hmm. But Giannis, the one thing about Giannis in game one, he only took 11 shots in game one. Okay, Kyle. That just shows that, he was just trying to get the feel of things. And with that type of time off, not knowing what's going on, Chris Middleton being Chris Middleton, and the milk carton situation, and the Suns were at home. Kyle, think about this. ESPN had actually a great stat. This was well known before the finals. The Suns hadn't been to the finals in 28 years, Kyle. All right.
Yeah.
10 of the 16 players on the roster, Kyle, weren't even born the last time they were in the finals. All right. Kyle, the last time the Suns were in the finals, Charles Barkley was playing. John Tesh's NBA on NBC was basically the theme song of all sports. Okay.
Damn straight it was.
To me, it's still the best theme in sports. I don't care I know Monday Night Football was great with Hank Williams, but man, that John Tesh's NBA basketball, I don't know if you could get any better than that.
I'm a football guy, and I'm not standing in your way on that at all, man. Listen, let's keep going, please.
Ellie Bros made a great point. Jay Crowder's defense was huge in Game 1, but there's a huge problem in Game 2. Dario Saric tore his ACL. One of the bigs in the rotation for the Suns will be out for the rest of the series. And when you do not have as many bigs as possible, yes, Brook Lopez was not a factor in Game 1, but Brook Lopez really wasn't going to be a factor in the series anyway because DeAndre Ayton is a different type of big man. But if Ayton somehow were to get in foul trouble, Kyle, Suns fans are now banking on Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah.
We're not talking about, we're not saying Frank the Tank because that was Wisconsin Frank Kaminsky.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking Frank Kaminsky. He gets his full name here. Francis Kaminsky gets his full name here. Okay. With him having to play extended minutes, he's going to have to do something because if they get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, the Suns are going to be in serious trouble. On top of that, in Game 2, I think the Bucks will be, like you mentioned before, the jitters are out the way. And to your point, the finals are a different series, Kyle, than when we remember growing up.
Right.
The old format, Kyle, was 2-3-2. So the home team had games 1 and 2 at home, with games 3, 4, and 5 on the road, and games 6 and 7 at home. With the 2-2-1-1-1 format, it actually plays into the Bucks' hands a lot better. Let me tell you how. Because to your point, if the Bucks win tonight, Kyle, guess what? The series now begins, and America all gets free tacos at Taco Bell. Yay! But Kyle, here's the thing: if the Bucks win tomorrow night, all they have to do, Kyle, is win one of those 2 games in Milwaukee at home, and then they have a chance to close the series out at home in Game 6.
Yeah.
Instead of having to win 4 out of the first 5 games, which is really difficult to do. I mean, you really have to be beating a team pretty solidly to win 4 or 5, especially with 2 of them on the road, the first 2.
And neither of these teams play any basketball that's bad at all. That'll turn it out. That makes that a simple task by any straight concept. By the way, quick stat I wanted to drop in. We're talking about DeAndre Ayton, how important he is to the Suns. The only other player to book more time on the floor than him, of course, is Devin Booker. I would have never expected that of a center in this day and age. Just throwing that out there.
Well, Kyle, your point, here's the thing. DeAndre Ayton wanted to be a jump shooter 12 months ago. He wanted to be a jump shooting, I want to be Karl Anthony Towns. And Chris Paul gets there. He's like, if you don't get your big behind down there and go eat. And that's what's made the Suns a different team. We all know how good Devin Booker is. All right. We're not going to discredit Devin Booker. And we're not going to say that Chris Paul. I don't know how to put this, Kyle, but Chris Paul, I don't know if anybody in football has ever been like this. Anytime a player goes to a team, it automatically changes the fortunes of a team and made them a playoff team or even better. I don't know if anybody's done that more and better than Chris Paul. Every place he's gone, the team has gotten better.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to really put that in perspective because I don't think there's a lot of NFL guys that jump around quite that same way as NBA players do.
Or even at that level. I mean,
Right.
even at the level of Chris Paul. Guys move to team to team. There's guys that play for 13, 14 different teams. But
to have it make that much of an impact. Yeah, like I'm trying to think of an impact guy that has had 4 different teams on his resume. And that's tough for me to really come up with off the top of my head. The toughest thing I might be able to give you is Takeo Spikes, maybe.
Maybe even say Terrell Owens.
But yeah, no. Chris Paul wasn't. Well, maybe actually that's Chris Paul doesn't get as much camera time
But
per
we just talk
se.
about it just impact-wise, though, because look at
That,
Owens in
and
San
then
Francisco.
impact-wise, as well as at some point, people do say that Chris Paul is difficult to work with. So
Yeah, I mean Terrell Owens. I mean, Kyle, you look at Dallas, you look at San Francisco, look at Philadelphia,
and even Buffalo.
even Buffalo. And that Buffalo was towards the end of his career. Too bad he didn't win a championship like Chris Paul has a chance to do.
Sure.
As we look at game 2, I think some of the keys for those who are watching at home for the first time, what you want to look for both teams. Listen, Giannis is going to touch the ball more, and he's going to shoot more than 11 times. There's no way. And he said he feels fine. If he feels fine, then guess what? He feels fine. Expect Giannis to take 25 shots tonight. Expect the fans to be annoyed. If I promise you, by Tuesday of next week, Kyle, I'm going to be throwing things on my TV. I'm getting tired of the fans chanting the count. Hey, Precious.
Well, I mean, listen, it's no different. It's no different than when they did it to Karl Malone in his day. To be honest, it doesn't bug me as much.
But Kyle, they didn't count for Karl Malone, though.
Actually, you know what? I have it backwards. With Karl Malone, they were counting because they were trying to support him, not talk him down. Yeah, I think it's kind of. I mean, I get where it's annoying. We're like, oh, well, foul shot takes so much time.
They don't go in, so.
This is up there with people complaining about the Lightning winning a cup because they knew how to utilize the rules to their favor on the salary cap. Hey, get over it. It ain't Tampa's fault that they know how to move the books around according to NHL rules. Change the damn thing if you don't like it. By the way, also happened in 2015 with the NHL, but no one wants to talk about that. Anyways, sorry.
Preach.
I didn't mean to bolt from our topic, but yeah, no, I could see how that's annoying, but I'll leave it at that, man. I feel you, but I was trying. Listen, I was just trying to give you a positive here, and it didn't work. That's all.
All Giannis has to do is shut him up and hit free throws. That's all he has to do.
Well, that's all Steph had to do, and he still won championships when he failed to.
Yeah, but the difference is, ain't nothing on the Bucks roster looks like Kobe.
So, well, I mean, Cortland, I hear you, but I mean, by the way, why you keep throwing an E in there? Like, it's not lightning, as in like you're turning it towards a different part of the dial. There's no E in there. Like, aren't you a writer? Anyways,
no, he's a Predators fan.
Oh, well, I have nothing to do with that attack.
I mean, yeah, Ella, we all know the free throw shooting is atrocious. I mean, the good thing, at least with Giannis, that he attempts to shoot free throws, unlike Ben Simmons. All right.
Wow.
It is what it is.
Danny Thompson chose violence with that attack. Anyway.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you who I'm gonna choose to win. Yes, I know. So I'm gonna tell you who I'm choosing tonight. But besides that, Giannis will shoot more tonight. I think the other key for the Bucks tonight is Bobby Portis. I think he'll see more minutes tonight and be much more productive, especially to get in foul trouble. On the Sun side of things, they still need Cam Johnson to keep shooting the way he is shooting. They also need Cameron Payne, both of them, to do key efforts. Tonight's prediction, Kyle. I have the Bucks winning tonight. Lightning, y'all reason saying.
Hey, you know what? I talk trash about Cortland being a writer, but he is a writer. He's a pretty good writer. Check out his work on the3pointconversion.com, same place where me and Danny Thompson are. That is the number 3, not 3 spelled out. See, so hey, that's what happens. If I talk trash on you, I still love you because I pimp out your stuff. There you go.
Exactly. He has also has a Major League Baseball power ranking article.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to remember what he dropped. Right. Yes, the MLB power rankings of baseball.
Exactly.
Is your gig.
Also, at the same time, like I said, tonight's game, I'm choosing Kyle. Before we transition, Kyle, who do you got tonight? You got Bucks or Suns in game 2. I'm taking the Bucks to take this thing back in a split.
I really think the Suns hold serve, and I'm going to just go ahead and predict the next 2 games unless Chris Paul gets hurt again or something. Knock, 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 knock. I really think it's going to be 2-2 before it's said and done.
Okay.
And
home team take the first 2 games.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not. Listen, that's why I'm only lukewarm paying attention to this series right now because I don't think it's going to start for at least 3 more games.
Well, you know what people thought was lukewarm? The Stanley Cup Finals.
I see what you did there, Danny Thompson.
Why? Because Tampa Bay Lightning, with the exception literally of 1 game, smacked the Montreal Canadiens around in one of the most weird Stanley Cup Finals I can possibly think of. Why, ladies and gentlemen? You got 2 teams in the Eastern Conference playing each other. All right?
That's fair.
The Montreal Canadiens would have been no more than like a 6 or a 7 seed in the Eastern Conference, but because because Canada would not allow teams to leave the border.
Oh, wait a minute. You're using the South Park defense. Blame Canada.
Listen, Canada's like, we're not allowing people to leave the country.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Am I wrong for this? Listen, Kyle, here's the problem.
I just like the song, dude. That was an Academy Award nominated. Don't hate.
The Blue Jays can't even go back and play games in their home stadium yet. They're still trying to beg to get across the border.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the Blue Jays still can't play there, and they're still wondering if the Raptors can even start next season over there.
Yeah, no, but listen, the Delta variant is real with Corona ID. I really wish the world existed in a way that the only variant I was worried about was on the Loki series, but unfortunately, such is not the case.
Well, the one variant was the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the wheels off the Montreal Canadiens 4-1. The Lightning trailed, Kyle, literally after they gave up the opening goal in the first period. Kyle, I think it was the only time they trailed, except for the time that they gave up the game-winning goal in overtime in Game 4. Kyle, as we look at it, you're down in that area. Here's the question, Kyle. Mm-hmm. As you look at the last 7 months, oh boy, we'll get to that in a minute. Before we get to the last 7 months, Kyle, is Tampa now taking over as championship town across the United States at this point?
I mean, they certainly talked about it on local radio, right? And I mean, really. If you want that, yeah, no, that's a fair reaction too from you. I don't blame you, Bobby Blackjack. But I mean, I'll put it this way: before we start talking that kind of trash, can we improve the Trop as a stadium? Because damn, okay, that's all I'm trying to tell you.
Kyle, you don't like the Gasparilla Bowl being at the dump like that?
Hey, listen, the Gasparilla was at Ray J and it was freaking gorgeous. Now, the Shrine Bowl, there's a reason the Shrine Bowl is moving to Vegas, thus making it so I'll probably never cover the damn game again. But the Trop is a good part of that. I'll give you that much.
Also, they moved the Gasparilla to Raymond James.
The Gasparilla has been in Raymond James.
Okay, so which bowl game was at Trop besides Shrine Bowl?
I don't remember the name of it, but it's not the Gasparilla. Or
the Weed Eater Bowl?
It was the Beef O'Brady's at one point.
That's what it was, the Beef O'Brady Bowl.
It's not called that anymore, but I digress.
I mean, yet and still, yes. The reason why the Tampa Bay Devils can't win a World Series is the fact that they play at Tropicana Field. Okay?
Well,
they play at Tropicana Field.
But hey, listen, as far as getting the most that you can out of what you have on a roster, Tampa Bay gets some credit on that.
Listen, Kyle, to your point earlier, people who complain that the Lightning won the Stanley Cup because of salary cap restraints and everything else in between. Listen, Steve Yzerman put a great product on the ice, and guess what? They're one of their best players isn't even playing.
Which also brings me to my next point. If you're going to talk that trash on the Lightning, keep that same energy for the Patriots in the past however long. But your move.
Checkmate. Listen, and the crazy part is, Kyle, Tampa will probably be the favorites in football to win again.
Well, that's what happens when you have a championship roster and you literally bring everybody back.
Kyle, when's the last time that's happened?
I don't know that it has, Danny Thompson.
Like I mean, I've seen teams lose a piece of here, but like they fought full-fledged NBA. We're running this thing back with everybody,
and yeah,
in a sport, Kyle, that has so many roster spots, the cap space isn't as large as compared. The cap space isn't as large compared to the number of players in the roster.
Contracts are guaranteed in the NBA. That kind of helps and hurts at the same time. But
I mean, you got to think, Kyle. The NFL salary cap is $185 million for 53 players. NBA salary cap is $125 million for only 15.
Right.
So it's like average player on the roster makes $7 million a year based on averages. Now, in our rosters don't make $7 million because you got guys that are making $50 million a season have a $120 million cap. But in the NFL, like you said, Kyle, in a non-guaranteed league, it's very rare. I think the Buccaneers are going to have 20 starters back this year coming up, maybe even more than that. For them to have everybody back, you're right. And Tom Brady's back. Barring some kind of injury or Tom Brady just going old all of a sudden, the career favorite.
Tom Brady is not the difference maker on this roster. Okay.
I say no. I think, but here's the thing: he plays the most important position on the field. So
On
if
offense, sure.
Tom Brady gets old, like now, the Bucks are pretty much finished at this point. I'm not
That's
saying
fair.
because like you said, because the quarterback is the most important position on the field.
You say that, but we also saw what Peyton Manning looked like his last year. I mean,
yeah, but Kyle, here's the thing though. When your offense is and Denver had a pretty solid running game that year, but when your offense is predicated on your quarterback getting the ball to two All-Pro caliber wide receivers, an All-Pro, a former All-Pro tight end, and weapons galore, if your quarterback goes full-fledged Jameis from 2 years ago, never was with Jameis, the Bucks are what? Even with a decent quarterback, they're what, 8, 7, 7 and 11? I don't mean the gas station.
All I'm saying is Tom Brady doesn't need to be Tom Brady for the Bucks to do well.
But Kyle, he can't be Beefo Brady either.
Well, he can't be Jameis Winston. That's fair.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Tom Brady cannot perform like I don't know, Kyle. I don't want to say some New England quarterback that's playing this year, but if he plays like that New England quarterback that replaced him did, and I don't mean the one that caught COVID, right? You know, we're talking about after COVID. Then guess what?
Thank you for correcting that, because I was about to say for the first 4 weeks he was an early MVP candidate, and then ish happened. I'm just saying.
But I mean, in Tampa's case, I mean they have a good defense and solid defense across the board. But I mean, if Tampa wins a second consecutive Super Bowl, the Lightning will be the odds-on favorite to win the Cup again next year. I mean, you might have to say Tampa might be the hottest sports town in the country.
I mean, right now that's certainly true. I think the other example that was out there is that Detroit won a bunch of stuff 198 days apart involving the Red Wings and I think the Tigers, but then the Lions got involved and screwed it all up. So,
I mean, yeah. But Kyle, I remember the Devil Rays made the World Series last year?
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
The MLB is not my jam. I could not tell you.
Yeah,
they
lost.
Where's Cortland? Damn it! You could answer that in the comments.
I think they lost the Dodgers last year in the World Series. Yeah, they lost the Dodgers in the World Series. The Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. Then you had, the Lightning win the Cup this year, and then we were back to it again. So Tampa has really been the town of champions. 2 championships out of 3 professional sports they have. Because I don't count the Raptors. All right.
Ted Hicks got jokes. That's awesome.
Bobby, no more Ted Hicks comments in the chat. I think he's drunk at this point. All right.
Hey, listen, shouts to the late night parent. He's just a little sleep deprived. It happens.
Listen, he's been drinking meat liquor. I don't know what he's been drinking this time of night, but yeah. Speaking of things that have been drinking and things not going merry, nobody's going to be drinking, and being merry in Tokyo right now, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
In an unforeseen, horrible set of events, the Olympics that will start on July 25th and 22nd in Tokyo will not have fans. It came down that because of another outbreak of COVID, the country's in a state of basically emergency again. The Olympics will not have fans between the Olympics and the Paralympics that were coming on after that. So, unfortunately, there'll be no fans in the stands for the Olympics. Kyle, Tokyo went through this last year. They had a year to get it together, but COVID rates are completely through the roof in Tokyo to the point where the country is in shutdown right now.
Yeah.
Only allowing the Olympic athletes to come in for the Olympics, and that's it. I don't care about refunds, Kyle, but if you're an Olympic athlete, is this alarming to you? To me, it is.
Oh, there's no question. And Ted, you're right on this one. I mean, my attitude is, who's on the list to host next? You get these games, bring it back to Tokyo at that time.
Well, Paris has it in 24, and Paris ain't ready for this shit.
No, damn it.
I mean, you have to find a place that has venues. So the only place I can think of is if you're going to go back to places that already had them. But Kyle, as we all know with Olympic history, when the Olympics go away, nobody uses those facilities anymore. Go back to Brazil when they had it in Rio. Like, most of those places are either dumps, they were renovated and just basically left for dead at those points.
Same thing happened with the World Cup when they had it in Brazil. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, I mean, all those billions upon billions upon billions of dollars they spent basically goes down the drain at this point. Atlanta renovated a lot of the things, but that was 96. So what we're looking at, Kyle? I mean, was it Rio was 2000? Was 2016? So yeah, so you're looking. Yeah, this is a mess. I
Hey,
do feel for
listen.
the athletes, but this is a mess.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I can see why they're trying to push it through the IOC. From their perspective, what exactly can they do? It's not like they can tell a country to shape up or whatever. It's a tough situation.
I mean, Japan, of course, we all know is one of the most highly populated capitals across the world. I mean, there's little space, but they're just as big as most major cities. Especially Tokyo, for that size, is literally the size of New York. But they have no access to the COVID vaccine, and everybody's getting sick. And Ted makes a great point. Atlanta in '96, a lot of the stadiums and things are not even there anymore, or not even point to be run available at this point. It's just sad that we're going to watch the Olympics in a couple of weeks, Kyle. And as we watch, some of our favorite events, like for me, I love track and field. I love watching gymnastics. I love watching swimming. But a lot of the times these sports are made because guess what? The crowd gets involved.
Well, yeah, the truth. First of all, it should have a crowd, but having facilities that aren't at the same level in capacity as they have been in the past may not be a wrong move either. How many countries still have some sort of travel restrictions on travel in general, including to the U.S.? I think you would be fielding fewer people for Atlanta, for example, or even if it's not the U.S., somebody else that is in a bleeding mess right now. To your point, I don't know how ready European countries are in general. I know England and France are struggling.
I think the only place that could have done the United States probably would have been LA. I think LA had enough infrastructure, especially now with
Well, yeah, but their restrictions would make crowds just as limited.
Well, no, I think California is wide open. Are you?
In and around LA, they're pretty strict still. Yeah.
Then New York might be the other option.
Yeah, it may be reduced crowds at least. But yeah, no, they're still pretty strict over there.
I mean, otherwise, if you want to have wide open Olympics, have it in Florida.
Well, wouldn't DeSantis love that?
Listen, that would be among, I don't know. Ted Hicks in the comments saying New York is wide open. So listen, New York's got enough facilities to get it done. I just would hate to be living, but I know the subways would be a messy.
I mean, over and above that, Panda, like we just got over, air quotes, COVID for the most part in this country, and now opening that back up to risk from other travelers coming from around the world, who no country has as good a vaccination rate as the U.S. right now. That's kind of scary.
Yeah, and well, I mean. It's just like I said, have no fans in Tokyo. It kind of makes things disappointing.
Agreed.
Speaking of things that are disappointing, Kyle, I guess one of the things that did disappoint me this week was the entanglement between the XFL and the CFL ended.
They didn't even hold hands, bro.
They had an entanglement.
Stop it.
The entanglement that's the XFL and CFL is now is officially over as the CFL gets prepared for the upcoming 2021 season, as the XFL gets ready for 2023. In the potential merger, the XFL and the CFL had talked about merging both leagues, basically saving the bleeding CFL that has been bleeding more money. Kyle, I'll make a wrestling reference. I'm not sure if you follow this. The CFL's bled more money than Ric Flair did in the 80s.
Oh boy.
Okay. The CFL has been bleeding money all throughout Canada because here's the problem. As much as Canadians love their football, Canadians don't draw the advertising dollar as their big cousins down south. The problem with the CFL is the CFL did try to extend into America and no one knew what the hell was going on. All right. Literally, Kyle, remember the Baltimore Stallions? They won the CFL Grey Cup at good old Memorial Stadium, the home of the Baltimore Orioles, Kyle, the old home. The stadium is so old, the Baltimore Colts used to play there. But American fans didn't understand Canadian rules, like the goalpost being at the beginning of the end zone and 110-yard fields.
What the hell is a rouge?
Exactly. What the heck? What do you mean they only have 3 downs? What the hell?
Saying.
I mean, they had drop kicks and everything. What is a rouge? What's with a 20-yard end zone? Like American fans had no idea what the hell was going on.
Why is there only 1 point in a football game being scored? They don't have free throws in football. The hell is this?
Why the hell are 4 wide receivers in motion? What kind of foolishness is this?
Actually, that part's kind of fun to watch.
Oh, of course it is. Listen, if you've never watched Canadian football is freaking entertaining, okay? I mean, unless you like running the football, unless you're a former running back, and hell, I think running backs like it because they don't take as much abuse.
That's a fact.
I mean, I can't tell you last time I saw a 1,000-yard rush in the CFL, but I mean, Kyle, these games are entertaining. 5 guys in motion, defensive backs are like on safety. It's great. And like I said, 3 downs. Kyle, you know how great if the NFL had 3 downs? To be a defensive player, how great to be on third down, they're punting.
Fans would hate it though.
You think so?
I do.
I don't know. I think it makes for coaches to get things done earlier. Can you imagine trying to run the clock out when you only have 2 downs to do it?
I mean, I hear where you're going at. I mean, it does. The opportunity for more drama is there, but if a team is struggling offensively, that's fewer points on the board, and the conventional wisdom alleges that the common fan wants to see scoring, right?
Now, here's the problem I have with the breakup. I'm sorry, the ending of the entanglement. The part that scares me is the XFL saying 2023. All right. I understand we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're still trying to get out of the pandemic. And the XFL, as Kyle, we've talked about this show many times, the XFL was looking like it was going to survive 2 years ago. Before the pandemic, the XFL was actually entertaining football. I think to me, I'll say this. It's to the point where you would have finished watching the first season and you would have been intrigued for year 2.
I mean, not for the Tampa team that they had, but for everybody else, yes.
I think the fact of it was getting better. It was getting better. The gameplay was getting better as teams got better. I just think that it needed more time. Like you mentioned before, it just needed more time. We didn't get it. The same thing with the AAF. AAF had good football, especially in Orlando because they were kicking everybody in the teeth. But funding was the issue. I think Vince McMahon had took out enough money to keep it afloat. Problem is, COVID kind of took it away. So we'll never know how good XFL 2.0 was. Now we have the 3rd edition of the XFL, who's seeming like it's like a bad marriage for the 3rd person getting married. Now you have, Kyle, the XFL starting in 2023. You have, the USFL starting next year?
Well, they're saying the next year, but they are saying they are also covering their rear ends and saying the goal is 22, but they're expecting no later than 23 to start, which tells me 2023.
And then you still have the spring league that still goes on. It actually survived COVID. That was actually going through COVID because they made sure they had no fans because I don't think no one knew 99% of the players in the spring league.
Yeah.
Because I remember Zach Mettenberger. That's the only person I remember in that entire league.
I didn't even know he was still playing.
Well, they picked him up from Aldi's to make sure he was back in time to work at his stock crew job the night before.
Hey, listen, don't make fun of the stock crew thing, all right? Your boy Kurt Warner is in the middle of getting his life story done with Dennis Quaid playing Greg Kinnear.
It's actually weird because didn't the same guy play Dick Vermeil in both the Invincible movie and now the Kurt Warner movie?
No, Greg Kinnear played him. Played him in Invincible. It's I just said it's Dennis Quaid that's doing it in this one. So,
but how ironic for Dick Vermeil to be the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon between these 2 movies.
That's an interesting point indeed.
I mean, listen to Kurt, and here's the thing: I saw some of the screenshots of the movie, and I saw Kurt Warner in a Rams jersey. I'm like, Kurt Warner, this is not Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was never that big.
No, he was not.
He looked extra. I mean, he looked like NFL Blitz Kurt Warner in that video, that screenshot I saw. The only difference was it wasn't muscle.
Looked a little bit more like he had Dante Culpepper's build than he did Kurt Warner's build.
I mean, Kyle, he was remember ice hockey back on Nintendo?
Sure.
You remember you played with the German team that was always bigger than everybody else?
Oh, you mean Czechoslovakia? Yes.
Yes, Czechoslovakia as well. Too, bigger than everybody else.
You're testing me. Listen,
Nah,
I just
Kyle,
played
listen.
it the other day on the throwback on the Switch, baby, and I could still dominate.
Listen,
USA.
ice hockey is one of the great man. Listen, the United States never stood a chance in ice hockey. They're so skinny. They just get the crap kicked out of them all the time. Kyle, speaking of things getting the crap kicked out of them, well, we won't see Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder kick the crap out of each other on July 24th.
That's a segue.
Yeah, but this is not the segue I wanted to talk about. In an anticipated heavyweight title match that was supposed to happen out in Vegas, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury has been postponed because members of the Tyson Fury camp has contracted COVID. Multiple members of the camp has contracted COVID, which has basically postponed this fight. Here becomes the underlying problem in all this. With the fight being postponed, it's all under PBC, which is also ran by Showtime and Fox.
Mm-hmm.
They had the huge fight with Manny Pacquiao in August, which means they're not going to put two fights in the same month. All right, which means we probably won't get this fight to September. Unfortunately, we won't get it. And I know Cortland's in the chat saying Fury is scared, but didn't Fury win the first two fights? I mean, the second fight, he beat the wheels off him. The first fight, we all know Deontay Wilder hit him with the hardest shot he probably hit him in his lifetime. And like The Undertaker, Tyson Fury got up from it.
Dong.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm sorry, I'll still to this day, I will still put money on it to this day. To this day! As Deontay Wilder would say, that Wilder hit him with everything he had, the kitchen sink, and a cinder block. He hit him. Kyle, I've seen him hit that punch many times, and guys don't get up from that. But yeah, technically in the first fight, he did knock him down twice. But we ain't talking about that first knockdown, Cortland. We're talking about the one in the final round. All right. I'm talking about the one that he teed off on him. All right. That was destination. Wilder went to that corner thinking, yeah, this fight's over. This dude's not getting up. And then when he got up, he was like, what the hell? I can't beat this man.
Why can't I kill you?
Exactly.
Just like the Riddler in Batman Forever, baby. Boom.
Listen, which was actually one of the better Batman movies because
definitely underappreciated. I don't understand. Anyway.
Because every time I think of Batman, I just think of Ben Affleck.
I mean, listen, Batfleck wasn't that bad.
Batfleck was but compared to the rest of the Batmans.
First of all, thank you for calling them Batmans and Batmen, because Batmans is the correct way to do it. A, B.
Clooney was worse.
Oh, sure. And we breathe oxygen. Are we going to start saying obvious stuff to fill out the rest of the show, Danny Thompson? If we're going to go down this road, first of all, we had a Batman episode. Go search for it on the Hilarity by Default channel, where we break it down in depth, which Batmans are good or whatever, good, bad, or otherwise. But when you think about Batfleck, each of the actors that preceded him, starting with the Tim Burton one with Michael Michael Keaton.
Don't you disrespect Michael Keaton?
Yeah, I'm not disrespecting him, but like some were better as Bruce Wayne, some were better as Batman. Batfleck did a great job of doing both, and that's kind of rare amongst Batmans.
I don't know, because here, you know what, Batfleck wasn't too bad because I didn't expect Batfleck to do much of anything. All
correct.
Right,
the bar was super low on him. That's right.
I went into it with 7th round pick aspirations. Okay, I thought it was going to be an undrafted free agent. All right, because I really was not expecting much from a DC movie, because I don't expect much of DC movies because they're trash most of the time. It ended up being like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Okay, it was solid. It wasn't bad. It got the job done. It was okay, but it wasn't like It wasn't like Suicide Squad bad. It wasn't X-Men bad. It wasn't Fantastic Four bad.
And whoa. In order for it to be Fantastic Four bad, it's got to be the Mavs in the 90s, okay? Anyways.
Listen, we're talking about the 7 and 59 Bobcats bad. Speaking of bat folks, Rodney, good old troll Rodney's in the building. Rodney, what's going on, man? We ain't seen him in a couple weeks. For those who know, Rodney on vacation.
Hey, yo, I love that troll though. That's a good topic relevant trolling by our friend Rodney Richardson.
Yes,
we regularly get plenty of guano from him talking about the Panthers.
Listen, speaking of Panthers, he
Guano
ran.
is bad poop if you don't know. Continue.
And speaking of running into things in Dallas, when he was on vacation in Dallas, he ran into former Panther quarterback Cam Newton,
Yes.
and Cam Newton still has wild hair.
I like the wild hair on Cam, bro.
I don't know. I'm not big on this. I don't know. I don't know.
Listen,
what the hell's
it
on his
makes
head.
more sense than this obsession with the pasty blonde tips that everybody's doing now. These damn receivers started with OBJ was the first big one I saw do it. I like Cam's hair, and I cannot lie.
Listen,
he's a giant. Well, so am I. Next question.
I mean, Rodney, but see, here's the thing. Rodney's also the height of Simone Biles. So.
How do I even respond to that?
Listen, because I've caught enough crap for Rodney, but Rodney's one of the best guys in the world, though. That's my guy. That's my ace. All right. Rodney's 5'9". So is Spud McKenzie. All right.
Oh. I'm not a mute. No, hey, I am. That's the thing. Even Ted Hicks is getting in on it. Ouch.
Listen, but Kyle, I want before we get into our chance to air our grievances out for the rest of the show, I want you to talk about Dabo Swinney. It came out that he was talking about the NIL situation, players getting money. If players decided to leave or get paid, he'd say he'd leave college football. Because Rodney decided to jump in the trolling chat, let's talk about what happens. Should Dabo Swinney honor his word and leave Clemson because athletes are getting paid?
I mean, so there's a couple ways I interpret this. For one, I'm pretty sure that Dabo's referring them getting paid to play. And if that's the case, this is the perfect compromise for Dabo Swinney. If it's not, and he's on his high horse like college coaches tend to do every now and again because they are generally of a particular age and a different system of values and used to the way things be done and all that other stuff. Listen, I'll be clear as day on this, man. From the coach's perspective in the college football world, that job has to be really damn difficult compared to what it was in the past. You were the king of the castle, and how you said goes, basically everyone had Nick Saban's power, okay? Now, it's a situation where you have to be a little bit more of a caterer to your players. You need to understand that they have options. They can transfer and do what's better for them, and they won't be shamed for it like they were in the past. How recently has it been, Danny Thompson, where Leonard Fournette was a bit of a black sheep for skipping the Citrus Bowl? And now players are doing it left, right, and center. And I believe at the time I wrote in the preview for that game that this would become a more widespread phenomenon. Damn it, I called another. So now granted, I mean, even Ray Charles could probably see that coming, but that's not the point. The point is this, my friend. Dabo Swinney making that threat is no different than LeBron saying, not 5, not 6, than anybody who has said, if so-and-so candidate wins the presidency, I'm going to move to Canada. It was never a real threat. It was something somebody wrote down, and now people are barking. Not that there's a problem with that, but that's all it is at the end of the day. I sympathize with not Dabo necessarily, but him as a member of a college coaching public of any race, color, creed, gender, or otherwise. Actually, to be honest, if I'm going to be a college coach at this time, I feel like I have a little bit better advantage if I'm the coach in women's sport. We talked a lot about that last week and how that's going to open a butt ton of doors for them possibly. But all that situation amassed at this point, I think it's just very difficult to be a men's college sport coach and have to try to juggle around the NIL. I mean, what if you live in, say, or coaching in, no offense to Scott Frost, but Lincoln, Nebraska? What big companies are there to handle business? Where if you happen to be the member of the American Athletic Conference, you have Tulane University, which is near New Orleans. Houston, pretty big city there too. Orlando, at least pretends to be a big city and is close enough to Tampa and Miami and Jacksonville. I could go Memphis being another good example. I'm sure I'm leaving some out. The punchline being this, friends. Suddenly geography matters a lot more than it did in the past, and you don't necessarily have to be from the South to land a good NIL opportunity as a college player, and it's going to completely change, potentially, the physics of recruiting.
You know, Kyle, you made a great point about the city of Miami, because as soon as NIL broke last week, when the opportunity came, De'Aaron King was one of the first players to take. I'm saying, Kyle, when I say take advantage of this, Kyle, he took it and ran with it like a punt return, like Peter Warrick in the 90s.
Or he could have just taken and ran with it like he does in the middle of his football game.
Yeah, but the difference was, Kyle, he was basically, his brother, who's now turned into his agent, had been taking and fielding offers, and he has like 5 offers, Kyle. He's at 5. He's been endorsing college moving companies, restaurants down in South Florida, places that involve the University of Miami as well, places that the players frequent. But Kyle, with even all this money that he's gotten in his clothing brand starting, one thing that hasn't been mentioned in the media, Kyle, is what De'Aaron King is doing for his teammates. Listen to this. He is organizing NIL events, Kyle, to be able to raise money so players can send stipends home to their parents.
Oh, snap.
He's organizing monthly NIL events, organizing ways to get money for his teammates, to be able to go home when they need to be able to send money home to their families. So this is not, he's doing this a way different than anybody else. I'm thinking, you got all these endorsement deals, is great. He signed, I think it was close to 6 figures in money the day he went NIL. But he said he's organizing monthly events and also helping his teammates to be able to find ways to monetize themselves so they can be able to take care of themselves and their families at the same time, as well as get a college education. That, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, that's what being a leader is.
Yes, it is.
And people talk about, this might divide college sports in general. That moment right there, I'm like, you know what? Most adults and companies don't do that for their employees. This man's not even obligated. He's not even getting paid. His main concern is getting his teammates to be able to go home to their families and be able to help their families. Yeah. I'm sorry, if I'm an offensive lineman or somebody blocking for him, I'm going to go full-fledged further for him.
Life on the line, yeah, definite.
I would go further than I ever possibly could go in for that. So imagine, Kyle, if you're also a quarterback, can you imagine how much money Trevor Lawrence would make NIL-wise? Now, mind you, Clemson was, I think Dad was mad because Clemson can't buy any players anymore. But to have your star player being able to do that for your teammates and organizing events and things like that to raise money for your teammates, I think that's just an outstanding, that's just, I don't know.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And listen, when you said it, my mind, I just watched Spaceballs the other day randomly, and you said it, I'm thinking to myself, merchandising, where the real money for the athlete is made. De'Aaron King, the T-shirt. De'Aaron King, the coloring book. De'Aaron King, the lunchbox. De'Aaron King, the flamethrower. All that is great. And now he's using it to help his teammates. No one expected that.
No, and the best part about it, Kyle, before we head off this topic, is that when they signed the agreement down in Miami, the mayor was down there, down in South Florida, and he got a De'Aaron King jersey signed by him, and he told De'Aaron, "Now I can actually pay you for this."
Let's put it this way: the mayor of Miami doing that is a better move than the mayor of Tampa asking for the Lightning to lose to the Canadiens so that they can seal up the NHL Stanley Cup at home. I'll put it that way.
Listen, you know what? I can't even think about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost time for us to get out of here. But before we go, we got to get some things off our chest. So, Bobby, since you're in the middle of a hurricane, tropical storm Elsa, whatever you want to call it up in New Jersey, because the rest, none of us on the East Coast is not dealing with this foolishness. Bobby, what's on your mind, my friend? What you want to get off your chest?
I'm surprised we don't see the window popping up.
I know. This is unlike Bobby.
Well, I'll put it this way. Maybe when it comes to Tropical Storm Elsa, Bobby finally realized he just had to let it go.
If I could find the Russell Westbrook gif where he's shooting a 3-pointer and puts his fingers up like this.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Exactly, Kyle. What do you want to off your chest this week?
Y'all, stop griping, stop whining. Even a good friend of mine, Big Jim Nyes, over at Big Jim Sports, currently doing 3 Count Thursday over on his Facebook page and YouTube channel and podcast. Shouts to him for excellent wrestling content, by the way. Has griped, whined, and complained as a Caps fan in hockey for a long time. Oh, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the worst franchise of all time. Now, I pick on Jim just to shout him out because he's good at his job, but also this is a sentiment of us fans. Listen, keep that same energy for the Pats. You heard me say it earlier. It's different when what they're doing is within the confines of the rules. And I'll put it this way. South Park isn't going to be doing any parody episodes talking about, no. If I cheat and lose, I am a cheater. If I cheat and win, then I am savvy, which Eric Carmen has taught, teaching his class Bill Belichick is how that went down. That's all I'm saying. Keep that same energy for the Patriots for all you Lightning haters out there. Oh, wait, you're probably in the same city as their former quarterback. Danny?
Did you say the Washington? Is he a Washington Capitals fan?
I sure did.
Didn't they just win the damn cup like 2 years ago?
I see. Thank you for the relevance of seeing me slip that in there with the
it's like didn't they just win the cup? Like, it's different, Kyle. If you're a fan of like I don't know the New York Islanders who never win anything, I get it.
Oh, Danny Thompson shows
I get it.
Tonight
but a Capitals fan
parent in the crowd.
If you're a Rangers fan, I get it because they don't win. There's certain NHL cities on the eastern seaboard that can't say anything, like
the New Jersey Devils.
Like the Devils have won recently, but the Capitals just won the cup. I don't get it. Okay, you know what? Yeah,
that's why I got it off my chest, Danny Thompson. If there wasn't injustice, I wouldn't have a damn thing to say.
All right, let me get this off my chest, and I'm going to get this off my chest. So genius. Let me get something I started on Late Night Parents. Speaking of Ted Hicks, I was on Late Night Parents a couple nights ago. After this incident had broke and became a national story, I talked about it a little bit on Monday of this week, and I think I'm going to take a little bit more time to expunge on it. And now that I've had a couple days to think about it and dig deeper into this whole situation, so I'm going to address the elephant in the room, which is Rachel Nichols and the entire Maria Taylor situation. This has been, after listening to Dan Le Batard's show, Kyle, the other day, it was not just Dan Le Batard, it was Jamel Hill, Amir Hassan, 3 former ESPN employees, all right, Kyle, that kind of went through something similar to what has gone on with Maria Taylor as well. Here's the issue I have with this. There are two sets of parties involved that are at fault at this. Rachel Nichols has her faults at this for the way she worded her comments and her frustrations. I understand the frustrations that she's coming from because we've all been in situations with jobs where we lost our job or someone else got the opportunity for a job that we were promised, given, or everything else between. So her being upset, I understand.
Well, okay. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a promise; it's in the contract.
I'm saying it's
even more than a promise. Is all I'm
saying.
So
what I'm saying is,
I'm adding to your point.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I understand the frustration part of this. Okay. The problem I have with it is the way she said it and the words she used around it and the context that she was using it. She was not speaking, Kyle, to a friend. This is not like me and you having a conversation or me and Bobby having a conversation. She was speaking to a representative for LeBron James. It wasn't a Lakers PR person. This is someone who is in LeBron's inner circle for LeBron's company. I understand the frustration. If somebody takes your job, I get that part. But to say the only reason why that Maria Taylor was able to receive this job is because of the fact of the Black Lives Matter movement, and then complaining about things like Black Lives Matter or being exhausted from it, as well as the Me Too movement, which is about women, especially women that have things that happen to women, is very bad. Regardless of what you say, if you feel frustrated, I get it. But don't say don't discredit somebody's ability because she's saying she's a minority, especially she's black. Now, who else is at fault for this? ESPN's completely at fault for this.
They
All right.
are the ones that fall for this. Like you and I, and just for the record, you and I have our disagreement about how culpable Rachel Nichols is or isn't, but there's no dodging the worldwide leader sucking here. Let's be clear.
And this is not the first time ESPN has done this, especially to women, and especially women, black women in this business. Okay. This ain't the first time. We all know about Jamel Hill's publicized railroading out the door of ESPN. But let's talk about Josina Anderson, who is arguably one of the most in reporters in the entire business, and how she got railroaded.
Very talented, by the way.
Very talented and very much in the know. If anybody knows about players and relationships, Josina Anderson knows it. But guess what? She was railroaded out the door by ESPN. Now, her situation was not blown up, and she hasn't really talked about it since. She'll drop things here and there, but nothing major. Now, is this a ploy by ESPN to not pay Maria Taylor, who asked for $8 million a year, like Stephen A. Smith, her colleague? Because let's keep this honest here. She is making $1 million a year, and I know Stephen A. is the face of ESPN, but who does more on that network than Maria Taylor? Kyle, let's count the resume here. Not only does she now do NBA Countdown, but she's also the face of College Game Day. She's also the lead for women's and men's college basketball.
I don't know about the face of College Game Day, but she's pretty damn prominent.
She's basically the one taking College Game Day to the next. She's the one that's transitioning College Game Day. She is. Because you got to think, Kyle.
Wait. You're saying she will be the face.
They're transitioning her to being the face.
Okay, of because keep in mind it's still very much Herb Street's house. But I definitely will feel you if you're saying that they're putting her in position to be the next person. That makes sense.
Because you got to think, because Herb Street is doing more games now. ABC has much more national games. Chris Fowler's been the face of ESPN for a while, and we all know Lee Corso. As much as we love the helmets, he's getting up there in years.
I mean, it's only a matter of time. The poor guy. I love the dude, but
when I say the transition period, Kyle, to the next part of College Game Day, I'm talking about Maria Taylor with David Pollack, with Desmond Howard. That's going to be what Game Day is going to be in the next 5 years.
Desmond Howard. Anyways,
listen, but that's where we're going with this. But the problem is, ESPN is going to fumble it back. They're going to fumble it back because Maria Taylor's contract ends on July 20th. Go get paid. Now, mind you, the word of the street is going to be Amazon or NBC after her. But that's not really the case. ESPN's had a history. And if you go back and listen to the podcast for Dan Lebitard, they go into deeper details because I've never been an ESPN employee, so I don't know what that feeling feels like. But they went into full-fledged detail with this, okay, and how it's been treated and how it's been perceived. So, Kyle, when I say people are at fault here, Rachel's at fault for using the word she used. If you're mad and upset, saying that somebody got a job because Black Lives Matter was the main propaganda of a network is not a way to go about it. I understand you're mad because it was in your contract and you basically had your contract taken from you. There's nothing wrong saying that you can't be mad about that. But to discredit somebody for being black, and that's the only reason why they got the job, not because she's outstandingly talented, not because the fact of she is one of only, I can't even count them, Kyle, who has a Heisman Trophy vote and an NBA MVP vote at the same time. She is a rising star at the network. Okay, we're talking about how things were placed. Kyle, no one mentions the fact that Rachel Nichols is the daughter-in-law of Diane Sawyer. No one throws that out there.
I never even knew it, to be honest.
And if you don't know who Diane Sawyer is, ladies and gentlemen, she was the heir apparent to Barbara Walters at ABC.
There you go. Okay. No, and listen, I get how all that isn't a great look, 100% too. But yeah, I didn't even know that was the case.
So my thing is, if you want to think you had things handled on a silver platter, I'm not saying Rachel Nichols is not talented, because you go back to the days of her at the Washington Post, she was great at the Washington Post when she was a journalist. But let's not say that she did not get where she got without a little bit of help along the way. That's all I'm saying.
And I think that's what's going on too, right? Let's, I think, first of all, when I hear what Rachel Nichols said, I don't feel like she was trying to disparage Maria Taylor specifically and saying she had no talent, but I could see where you read that. What I do see is she's calling out ESPN. They probably got pressure to put Rachel Nichols in the position because she's a woman, and now that there's pressure for them to put Maria Taylor into place, Rachel Nichols is feeling the heat. The thing that's unfortunate is more than one individual who's a member of a disadvantaged group in sports is now pitted against each other instead of giving each a leading spot of some sort, a prominent spot at the network at the same time as it should be. And it's really slowing the whole situation.
And Kyle, you know the worst part about the ESPN situation is the person that got the tape to give to Maria Taylor, who was part of the ESPN PR staff, human resources staff, was suspended without pay, given lower positions until she quit. Instead of addressing the issue, or to the point, I forgot where I read this today was, Adam Silver had said the disappointing factor was not getting those two in the same room together to hash this whole thing out.
100% correct.
But they got rid of the person that told Maria Taylor, which meant that ESPN was guilty all along in the entire process.
Well, right. And I mean, I'll put it this way. There's a whole other questions about what was leaked how and all that other stuff.
And that's something we could talk about, at length on another show.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. As a black man, as a black journalist, as part of this fraternity and sorority that is being an African American in the sports journalist industry, black women have it harder than anybody else. And I can say that for myself. I want to let every black female journalist that is listening to the show know that you are more appreciated, and most of them, and I know personally, work harder, work more diligently, and have more connections and insights than most journalists of any color, any race. Doesn't matter who they are. I can name a few people that have contacts everywhere, and it's not because of who they are. It's because of the relationships they made with everybody else. And I want to give there's too many journalists I know I want to give appreciation to and let them know I appreciate their work and everything else in between, because I feel like I'll forget somebody. There's too many of them I know. But I want to say how appreciated black women are and underappreciated. How much I appreciate black female journalists and how underappreciated they are in this industry as well, too. So I'm going to leave that alone because it is 9:04. The show did go over tonight. And like I said, I can talk about this on a bigger scale. But like I said, for my African-American female journalists out there, and also women journalists as well, too. But this is especially for the African-American women journalists out there. This is for you. I appreciate you. I love your work. I follow your work. Don't think I don't. But it is appreciation. So I'm off my soapbox now.
Hey man, and I'll double that. Like I got kind of an advancement in my start from watching a black female journalist work inside the UCF press conferences and press box.
Was that Shannon?
Sure was.
Yeah, it was Shannon Green, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not even with the.
Yeah, she was moving on up. She is doing something different now. But
yeah, she's phenomenal. I remember seeing her a couple times in the press room. She was a phenomenal sports writer. Very underrated in Orlando. And actually, when Jamel was in Orlando, she was super underrated before she got to ESPN. Kyle, before we go, any shout outs?
Nothing that comes to mind, but goodness gracious, if you haven't gotten your vaccine yet, check with your doctor, make sure it's okay for you to do so, and get your vaccine and get it done, for goodness gracious.
Yes, because otherwise you can't jump on an airplane.
Fact.
So, for myself, Kyle, Bobby, who's missing? Bobby's more missing. There you go. I would say Bobby's missing more than the New York Yankees in the division.
Sorry, soccer hype as if we're worried about it. That's cool.
Bobby, y'all ain't beating England. All right, they've got it in.
We're going to crush England on our defense. It's not even close.
Aren't y'all playing at Wembley?
We're going to win at least by 2 goals.
Aren't y'all playing at Wembley?
This, 2 goals.
Doesn't matter. We're Italians. We play anywhere.
By the way,
Bobby, aren't y'all playing at Wembley?
We haven't lost in 35 matches.
Bobby, are you playing this game in Wembley?
Doesn't matter. They'll be drunk anyway.
You're drunk anyway, but
no, all the English hooligans will be drunk.
Bobby, you ain't answered my question.
Yeah, they're playing there.
Okay, England is 11-0-2 when playing games at this magnitude in Wembley Stadium. All right, Kyle,
they're not better than us.
Listen, just watch the damn game, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a barn burner.
Listen, all I'm just saying is this: Bobby's going to be disappointed for the 3rd time this year, because when Notre Dame fell in flames.
Oh no!
Notre Dame fell in flames. Kevin Durant's foot was on the line, and England will fall to. Italy's going to lose to England after England hasn't won since the Milwaukee Bucks won a championship.
Oh, stop it.
We'll see.
So for Mr. Damn You Tropical Storm, Mr. Blackjack up in New Jersey.
Talk about somebody who needs to let it go. I'm just saying.
Yes. It's going to be gone by tomorrow, Bobby. Your rain's going to be gone tomorrow, okay? For Bobby up in where is Brooklyn Hap in New Jersey, Kyle down in Florida, who actually survived hurricane. It was a hurricane at that point.
No,
Hurricane
it was not, sir. It hasn't been a hurricane for a damn week.
I thought it was a hurricane like 2 days ago.
No, sir.
So for Bobby up in Brooklyn, up in New Jersey, Kyle down in Florida, and for myself up here in the lovely state of Virginia dealing with rain right now, go over to ABC, catch Game 2 of the finals. We'll be back here Thursday night talking more about the NBA finals. We'll also get back to our NFL and college football series, and we'll be on a little bit longer. Love you guys. Stay safe.